Ready.
Gonna need a storm.
Monthly board meeting of the Shell Rock Rivershed for October 8th, 2024 is now called to order. You have to call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Here.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Here.
Manager Lee.
Here.
Manager Delton.
Here. On to item 2, public forum. I do not see anybody here from the public unless the city would like to say something. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, we'll go on. To item 3, approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions?
Mr. Chair, at this time, we do not have, staff does not have any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda.
So do I have a motion to approve as is?
So moved.
Lee, do I have a second?
Second.
By manager. Can't even think. Kramer. Any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Lee. Manager Delton.
Aye, carried. Item number 4, the consent agenda. The following items will be acted upon without discussion in accordance with the staff recommendation and associated documents unless a manager requests opportunity for discussion. Minutes of the September 10th, 2024 Shell Rock River Watershed District regular meeting. B, September 2024 Treasurer's report subject to audit. C, September 2024 project fund treasurer's report subject to audit. E, authorized payment of claims. E, authorized payment of project fund disbursements. And F, quarterly transfer. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
By Manager Pasuski. Kramer. Hey, something saying. Pretty screwing up. There makes a few times. Yeah. Something. Do I have a second? Yes. By Manager Hanson. Any discussion? Hearing none, Leah, please call roll.
Manager Bakken.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Pasuski.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Delton.
Here. Item 5, Natural Resources Technician Mike Waffles.
That's an update on, we finished up on streams late last month. We're gonna do our last sampling of lakes today or later this week. Then we're gonna leave buoys through the next couple weeks, maybe toward the end of the month, since we have the weather to do it. And we'll pull those and start compiling our data from the summer and start to get a report put together.
Oh, good. We'll go on to item 6, Project and Program Manager Courtney Phillips.
Thank you. The first item I have is resolution 2024-16, which is an initiate the Hine restoration. We purchased the Hine parcel out of our phase 10 funding, and we have restoration dollars identified in our phase 11 of our Lasartean Outdoor Heritage Council funding. We are looking to restore wetlands on the site and also feed it into natives. So following our district's process for projects, the first step is initiating the project, so it allows us the ability to work on getting an engineer and securing the site. So if there is a first and a second, I will read the resolution.
Go ahead. By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Lee. Please read resolution 2024-16.
Thank you. The Hine Restoration Project, initiate project 2024-02. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to the water-related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Comprehensive Management Plan, Watershed Management Plan. Whereas project goals and objectives set forth in the plan include improved water quality and clarity to district lakes, improve and enhance waterfowl habitat, establish native prairie plantings, including pollinator habitat. Whereas the district has pursued a comprehensive watershed approach to reduce sedimentation and improve water quality, including filter strips, rock inlets, nutrient management systems, wetland restorations, rough fish management practices, installation of fish barriers, septic system inspections, stream bank and ditch restoration projects, and the installation of rain gardens. Therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Shell Rock River Watershed District, Section 1 initiates project number 2024-02 Hine Restoration Project. Section 2 authorizes district staff to negotiate appropriate professional service agreements to promote and complete the Hine Restoration Project efforts. And Section 3 authorizes district staff to conduct work as needed to present this project to the board for review and public hearing as required by law, dated October 8th, 2024.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, Manager Buckett.
I mentioned, I stopped and talked to Chairman Miller yesterday, and I talked to Andy a couple weeks ago, a little bit about it. He talked to me, but there's another 40 acres that's a couple miles to the west of this that doesn't have an outlet. And I don't know if there's any possibility of doing an exchange. In the tax code, you can do a 1031 exchange. So the owner, the farmer of the 40 acres can trade 40 for a 40 with no tax consequences. So I don't know if that's something we could look at a little bit before we get into it or not, but I think the other one's closer to, would you say upper twin? And I know there's no outlet for it, so if you were gonna tile that one, you'd have to have a pump or something, and I know the farmers talked to Andy a little bit about and I don't know how many acres he talked to you about, but just one idea I come up with last few days, but like I say, no tax consequences to the farmer to trade, and I don't think there'd be any problem, Steph, with us tax wise or.
I do think there might be implications because we have to put a notice of funding restrictions on the parcel itself, and that has already been recorded and established. And with the funding sources that we get the funding from do require it to be the use that is intended for. So being that we purchased that using Lessard Seams funding and the Appendix E requirements of the notice of funding restrictions, that those parcels are set. They can't be changed at this time.
Well, nothing's in concrete.
I think the notice of funding restrictions.
But the 40 I'm talking about on the Hine property is 100% tillable, and there's some oak trees around it, so, you know. That's my thoughts right now. Thank you.
And we are working with the landowner. I have reached out to the previous landowner to get the private ditch agreements in place to see if there are any. Because there are a couple of private drainage ditches that are bordering this property and leaving the site. And so we are doing our due diligence to reach out to see if anything was there, or if not, get something in writing that makes sure that we have the ability to drain into those private ditches. So we are working on that. Again, this is just first steps in the restoration process.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, we have these call roll.
Manager Bakken,
I gotta think about it a little bit, but I'm gonna pass for a couple minutes here.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Pasuski,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye.
You want me to come back to you, Manager Bakken?
Work state. Work state. I'll abstain then, I guess, this time. Please.
Okay. Then resolution 2024-16 passes.
Thank you. Next item is a motion to reject all bids for the Pancom Prairie Enhancement Project. We had put this project out for bid twice. The first time we received no bids, the second time we received one bid. The bid that we received was roughly 150% of engineered estimate, and so at this time, we are looking to reject that bid that was received due to the fact of it being so high over engineer's estimate. At this time, the district is reducing the scope of the work. We are removing the berm creation and the pump components, and we are only doing the wetland scrape components of the project. So we are planning to put this back out for bid. The tentative plan is that it will go out on October 14th. We already have notices set in the paper, and we will be looking to have bids due November 4th so that we can award a contractor at our November board meeting. We have pulled the petition from Freeborn County because the pumps are what was triggering the petition process for Freeborn County. As a result of our wetland scrapes, we will have some soils that we will have to manage as a result of those scrapes, so the spoils of that. We are looking to apply for a permit with Freeborn County to be able to put those spoils on the ditch right of way, but not exceeding the crown of the ditch that's already there. And I've been in contact with Steve Pankova and both Cody Fox and John Kolb regarding that. And Cody just sent the permit this morning for us to fill out. So we are following due process, but currently rejecting the bids, rebidding it with smaller scope of work.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Manager Paczewski, do I have a second?
Second.
By Manager Lee, any discussion?
Do you need to be under contract by the end of the year?
That is a great question. The project funds do expire June of next year. So we are hoping that we can get something started right away and then
Could it be spent or encumbered?
spent by June.
Oh, June.
We can, yes,
You better let it.
yeah, so that's why we're moving quickly. And that's why we kind of decided to just reduce the scope of the work to be able to get it done and get more interest with different bidders, because I do know that the pumps were kind of an uncomfortable level for some bidders. So I do feel that this will increase our pool of applicants for quotes.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckin,
I think I've got to abstain on this one too, because I know the contractor, so.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Paczewski,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. Next item is a motion to approve a Conservation Corps with Minnesota and Iowa contract. This is a continuation of funds. We do have 45 or 50,000 for 45,000 for Conservation Partner Legacy Funding, which is a CPL grant. This was for floodplain management and buckthorn management of the property that we own out on Wedge Creek. This is utilizing all available funds that we have to continue buckthorn and floodplain management. It is for 18,000 and it is essentially just continuing on the work for another year. This again expires June 30th of next year.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
By Manager Hanson, do I have a second?
A second.
By Manager Kramer, any discussion? Hearing none, will you please call roll?
Manager Buckin,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Paczewski,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Delger.
Aye, motion carried.
Thank you. The last item I have is project updates. The Bryson wetland restoration has been completed, a large majority of it, and so we are going to be doing final payments, so just letting you know that that's a completed project. That one was funded. Wetland restoration work was funded by Lessard Sams. The easement portion was funded by LCCMR. The bid pack 3 of Fountain Lake Inlake Habitat, which is that access piece, is currently getting completed. John might have a better update on that one, but. And then the last thing that I have is some exciting news is for our Lessard Sams Habitat Restoration Program Proposal Phase 14. Lessard Sams Council had a meeting last week and we are looking to get a recommendation of funding for $2,141,000. We are going to be using that funding. A large majority of what I want it to go towards is the 2 ponds that are out on the AMA site. They were gravel leases that the district had to allow to go to completion. Those 2 leases are now expired. Those ponds are kind of left as is. The contractor did meet all of the requirements of their conditional use permit for the site. However, we do not feel that the site was left in good standing to be able to be donated to the DNR as is. So we are wanting to go in and do some restoration efforts of the site, potentially connect the 2 ponds, work with DNR to do fish stocking there. And then we would also like to get outside funding for ADA compliance fishing piers of the site. And then turn it over to the DNR for public. There would be some other small projects included. We have some stream bank restoration funds. But we just got what this proposal allocation dollar amount is going to be. So Carmen and I will be working by the end of the month to get a work plan together and submit it to the council for final approval to take to the legislator. So great news that we are bringing in another $2 million plus.
That'll be a nice project down there too,
Yes.
really nice for everybody.
Yeah, and just for those that aren't aware of that area, that's the area. Right next to the Shell Rock River that we purchased, when we did the dam restoration, so there's 256 acres. The gravel lease, I believe, was roughly 35 acres. There is an AMA plan with the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. When we put that plan together, when we did the original sale, it was written into that plan that we would have public parking and a public area out there with fishing piers. The thought was have a nice pier for the nursing homes and stuff to take their residents and have a safe place to fish. That stuff was actually written into that plan. So this would be kind of the preparation work of it. And then hopefully we can work with DNR and stuff on this fishing pier portion.
Good. You're back in.
So, we use public funds for like the Bryson project, Courtney. So we've talked a little bit about when it's open to the public and when it isn't. So are we gonna need a discussion on our properties in the long run here as far as what's open to the public? This one's gonna be closed, do I understand?
Correct. This was a conservation easement that was just between us and the landowner, so this one will remain under Ann's ownership and not open to public hunting or fishing. We are in the process of donating a lot of properties to either US Fish and Wildlife or DNR. We are gonna have one next month for the Church Lake parcel because DNR is, we're expecting a closing or a donation to be end of November. So there are a lot of parcels that are getting off of our radar and onto other people's, plates or ownership. But there are a couple of properties that the district would like to maintain ownership of just for maintenance aspects. And I will let Andy talk about that because we have had just some discussions regarding the liability of having it open to public hunting and fishing and what that means for our insurance. And I do think that Andy's been working with Suzanne, our insurance person, but I will let him speak to that.
Yeah, it's just trying to, again, protect the district for the liability portions of having those properties opened up to public use. I don't think there will be a lot of properties, that we're looking at keeping open up. One of the things with the funding mechanism is they're supposed to be open to public use. And what we do is we do not allow the public on them while we're doing the restoration projects and until we get the establishment of the vegetation we want. And then we usually turn it over through these different agreements that we work with, like Courtney was saying with DNR or with US Fish and Wildlife. However, there are some properties, one that DNR or US Fish and Wildlife do not want because they're kind of small, separate. So those are the ones that we are looking at having discussions with our insurance agency on having those opened up, but still covering the district as far as liability. So when I hear more, you guys will hear more.
Good.
Thank you.
So we'll go on to item number 7, Administrator Andy Henschel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first item I have is resolution 2024-17. District support for the Minnesota watersheds resolution. And Courtney, you're reading the resolution? So I'll have Courtney read the resolution and we'll have some discussion on it quick.
Did I get a motion first?
Sure.
Okay. I have a motion, resolution 2024-17. So moved by Manager Kramer. Do I have a second?
Okay.
By Manager Buckman. Please read the resolution.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-17, Shell Rock River Watershed District support of MN watersheds resolution set permit review time limits. Whereas the Shell Rock River Watershed District pursues the mission of implementing reasonable and necessary improvements to water related and other natural resources within its boundaries. Whereas the district was established in 2003 and the bylaws of the Shell Rock River Watershed District were adopted on March 15th, 2005. Whereas under authority of state statute, Minnesota statute 103D.201 and its bylaws, the district's purpose is to conserve the natural resources of the state by land use planning, flood control, and other conservation projects by using sound scientific principles for the protection of the public health and welfare and provident use of the natural resources. Whereas the district is charged with implementing the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan. Whereas the implementation of the plan, the Shell Rock River Watershed District Board of Managers initiates projects consistent with the plan and applicable law. Whereas the district is a member of Minnesota Watersheds, whereas the district administrator, Andy Henschel, is a member of the Minnesota Watershed Association of Watershed Administrators, MAWA. Whereas the board desires efficient due diligence and progress on projects. Whereas the district, like other watershed districts in the state, has experienced significant delay in the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources process of permits. Now therefore, consistent with the bylaws and in furtherance of the Shell Rock River Watershed District Watershed Management Plan, be it hereby resolved, section 1, the district board of manager hereby supports the Minnesota Watersheds Initiative to set permit review time limits. Section 2, the district board of managers authorizes the district administrator to act consistent with the initiative to set permit review time limits and provide the attached resolution to Minnesota Watersheds with its support, dated this 9th day of October 2024. Should be 8th day of October.
That's today. Thank you, Courtney. So again, just to give you a little overview of why I'm bringing this resolution to the board and asking the board to support this and bring this to the Minnesota Watersheds, our state organization, to try to get legislative action in the next legislative session. So this basically stems from every time the district has to go through the EAW or Environmental Assessment Worksheet process. Right now in statute or Minnesota rules, DNR and MnDOT, MPCA, they already have a 60-day deadline for final action on permit requests. However, there's kind of a loophole in the system that when there is an EAW needed, there is no time requirement. So once this board brought the EAW and put it out for public comment, the board then answered the comments and then had a negative declaration, basically stating that this project does not need an environmental impact statement. Once that occurred, is when I'm saying in this resolution that should trigger their timing to get us a permit. Right now, like I said before, there is no timeline. So there is a loophole right now in the current law that gives the state agencies an out to then respond and take action on your permit. We have seen this a multitude of times. The first time we did our day of safety permit for constructing the CDFs, we did the same thing, went through the environmental worksheet process, came back, DNR wanted more information. They delayed that permit, I want to say almost 12 months before we got that permit. It happened again when we tried to receive our DNR waters permit to actually dredge phase 1 and phase 2. Again, the same thing occurred. That permit was delayed again another 12 to 11 months after the negative declaration was made. So again, we are trying to fix a loophole in this system again to have the DNR, once the negative declaration is done, to have to take action on that permit, whether they award the permit or deny the permit. We just need to know something. Right now, we don't know nothing. I did bring this back to MAWA. Every single administrator supported this resolution. So I believe when Brad has his meeting this morning at 9 o'clock with the Minnesota Watersheds, this will be a well-supported resolution. So again, asking the board to approve MAWA to look at this resolution and to hopefully accept it and fight for it in the next legislative session.
Is there any discussion?
I think this is an excellent put forward to get changes up there. You get the water can sit there and drag, or the DNR can sit there and drag your dang feet. And then who's the cost, end up in the cost more, ends up the projects and everything else costs more, so it costs taxpayers more. So this is, I believe this is excellent.
Is this a statewide issue or is it more concentrated in our region?
This is a statewide issue.
Okay. Must be if they're all agreeing.
Correct. If you look at the Minnesota watersheds, they have kind of a checklist. And one of the checks is, does this apply to the entire state? And we said, yes, this does apply to the entire state. There are actually right now quite a few districts in the same boat that we are, especially up in the Red River Valley. So yeah, I believe Brad will see, there's also 8 other resolutions that are similar to the issues with DNR, but not to the specific issue, so.
Sometimes we gotta react, make things change. Any other discussion? Hearing none, please call rolls.
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Aye.
Manager Lee,
Aye.
Manager Delcher.
Resolution 2024-17 passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item B is a motion to approve the 2023 audit as presented. I believe this was mailed out to you, but we did get our audit completed. We did have a staff at a preliminary meeting with Andy Burnout, who does our audit. We also had the chairman and treasurer in that meeting. So again, looking for approval, our motion to approve the audit. Again, everything came back clean. Al and Mick both had some really good questions. There will probably be some discussions brought up later in the year, probably January, when we look at renewing our audit. But there's a chance that we could change to a different type of audit if the board wished to do so. But those discussions will probably occur sometime in January. I don't know if Mick or Al, do you wanna?
That was my only comment is about the cost of the audit and whether we go to just a Minnesota audit. But I'd like to stay where we're at for one more year.
So just to give you a little background, what we're talking about right now, we do a more comprehensive audit. It's basically following federal standards instead of state standards. We do not do the simple Minnesota audit. We do a more a thorough audit. However, that more thorough audit costs more money. I believe right now our audit is somewhere between $14,000 to $15,000 a year. We will probably see some substantial increases in that cost, just due to the time that's involved in those types of audit. And there would be, I don't know if the price would go down much, but if we went to the Minnesota state audit, it would stay consistent. So that's kind of what Al was talking about. But again, like I said, we'll decide that, probably around January.
We have a motion.
So
Motion by Manager Bakken, second by Kramer. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call roll.
Manager Bakken,
Aye.
Manager Hanson,
Aye.
Manager Kramer,
Aye.
Manager Besuski,
Aye.
Manager Lee, Manager Delcher.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item C is just an update on the Minnesota Watersheds Fall Conference. This is their annual conference, the biggest conference we have during the year. The dates for the conference are December 4th through the 6th. The conference will be held in Grandview Lodge in Nisswa. So if any of you want to go, I'll have Leah send you guys out an email that shows you the tentative schedule, what we're looking at discussing as far as topics. Of course, there's always a large trade show where you can talk to vendors that do or work in the watershed realm. I believe we have 2 board managers going so far, Manager Kramer, Manager Lee. But if anybody else wants to attend, please let Leah know and she can get us a room for you guys. That's it for that, unless anybody has any questions on the annual conference. You know,
I couldn't, what town was that?
Nisswa,
North of Brainerd. About 5 miles. Oh, like,
yeah, this will be the first time it's been held at Grandview Lodge. It's been at Arrowwood and Alexandria for the last 40 years. So we'll probably see a few changes if you've been going up there before. I believe the changes will be good. Of course, we're probably gonna run into some hiccups just because it is a new location. But we're just trying something new for the association, and I think it'll be a good thing at the end. So.
Usually the food's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, hearing nothing there, I'm moving on to item D, Fountain Lake Restoration, East Main Bay and Bancroft Bay updates. As you know, the DNR has our permit application. We submitted that application again, May 31st of 2024. They're still, what I would call sitting on it. We've had roughly 6 meetings, trying to work with them, going through the permit, going through the water quality aspect. With the SRRWD studies that we have done. Again, like I've said in the past, they don't even want to look at the SRRWD, which the district spent a lot of money on to develop that model. So that's where we sit. I did have a meeting. I kind of went around our regional folks. I called in our regional director, Scott Remhold from the New Ulm area. Also met with Katie Smith, who is the head of the Waters Permit Division. We met with them 2 Thursdays ago. We also prepared a letter for them after that meeting, which I believe I sent out to all of you. I also sent it out to the newspaper. I sent it out to 2 city councilmen, the mayor, and both our Senate and our legislators. I sent it to them as well. Basically explaining that we feel that our permit is complete. We have beyond a reasonable doubt expressed what the issues are, especially in Bancroft Bay, and why we believe our permit should be approved. You know, the interesting fact, you know, that I kind of pointed out with our meeting with Katie Smith is if you look at projects around the state that involve dredging that are permitted by the DNR, that has their own projects, they don't seem to go through near the scrutiny, nor do they have near of the scientific background that we do, especially as far as water quality. So we feel that it's pretty hypocritical for some of the stuff that they're requesting from us. Again, like I've told you before, they told me that they would be willing to permit East Main Bay if we pulled Bancroft Bay out. I told them at this time, I don't believe that is a process that we want to go down. I believe the board would be not doing its due diligence in trying to complete the project if we took Bancroft Bay out. Again, I believe that's just a delay tactic for them. Again, to keep us out of the Bancroft Bay area, which we have previously showed them that has the highest phosphorus load when it comes to internal load to Fountain Lake. So hopefully, I did email her again yesterday morning, asking her if she's discussed this with the regional team and if they have any response back to us. She did say she'd have it back to me in a couple days, so hopefully I'll see something by the end of this week, and be able to update you guys through an email. So that's where we sit with the Fall Lake and East Main Bay and Bancroft Bay dredge project update. Any questions from the board?
Keep hitting them.
I do have a meeting being lined up with Peggy Bennett. So we're starting that process as well to get them potentially more involved in getting this process moving. So that is in the works. She was on vacation, I believe, last week, but said she'd get back to me hopefully this week. So now we're gonna get stuff figured.
Kind of like the old saying, that the what's done, hit them with a bigger stick.
All right, seeing all their questions there, moving on to the item E, the confined disposal facility cleanout update. Again, this is the cleanout of cell one out at the confined disposal facility. The cleanout is going well. This dry weather has definitely assisted the contractor out there. He's moving roughly 500 or 5,500 cubic yards a day. So we estimate he has roughly 66 days of work left out there. One of the things that, again, I did discuss this a little bit at the last meeting, but we are finding that the material, once it's taken out of the cell, is bulking up or swelling a little bit. So we're looking at finding more room around our site to place that material. I did discuss there will be a change order to help put some drainage through an area and connect it to a drainage that we drained around cell one with the 36-inch culvert. So we are gonna be looking at a change order that'll allow for an additional roughly almost 200,000 yards of material. If we can fill that area in, so that change order will probably be coming in the next couple of days. I believe that change order is gonna be between 18 and 24,000. So I will probably be approving that once I see it, if it meets all of our requirements. Otherwise, the project's going good. I know some of the managers want to run out there with me and take a look at it. So if you do, let me know, and we can definitely run out there and take a look at the project site. Any other questions on the confined disposal cleanout?
The picture that was in the weekly, when was that taken?
That would have been taken middle of last week.
Okay.
So a question, Mr. Chairman, what's the DNR think of our taking the material out of the cell? I mean, are they think it's a good idea, or are they hesitant? Does that interfere with our permit on the other one, or?
I mean, they don't have an issue with it as long as we're meeting like the stormwater permit stuff or the erosion control stuff. You know, I mean, they're gonna want to once the cleanout is final, they're gonna want to, their dam safety team is gonna wanna come down and make sure everything is or look at the as-built compared to how it was built the first time. Make sure there's no breaches or anything. You know, we did go around in circles with them, of course, to go in and clean it out. But because we're putting it upland, we're stocking it, we're seeding it, and meeting all the erosion control standards through the state, through that permit process. You know, I think we're fine, and they're fine with it.
I just drove by the other day and I thought the silt fences looked good and everything, so make sure we maintain them.
Yep, no, the contractor is doing pretty good doing that. It's been pretty easy because we haven't had really any large rain events since the project started, which is a good thing. It's keeping him busy. It's helping him dry out the face of the material where he's pulling it from, so it don't swell as much. But otherwise, they're doing good on it.
Good, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll move on to the last item. Is the country club sale update. Right now, we are finalizing some of the survey. And final documents. We are looking at having a closing on the country club property somewhere around October 22nd. Any questions on that one?
Who was again, I get what to.
City. It's going, the property is being purchased by Alita.
See how much time.
Don't worry, it's normal.
All right, here no questions, I'll turn it back over to the chair.
Okay, item number 8, managers items. Any manager items?
I do have one question for the state amendment that's gonna be on the election here. For clean water funds going from the lottery proceeds. And if somebody doesn't vote yes or no, it's a no vote. So I'm just wondering if us as a watershed, if you could put maybe a column in the paper explaining what it's for. I know we get a lot of our funding out of that and stuff like that ultimately, so just something to help educate the community on what that constitutional amendment is.
Yeah, and again, for what Brad's talking about is there will be an amendment on the voting sheet for the LCCMR, which is different than the SAR Sands Outdoor Heritage. This is the money that comes from the lottery funds that goes to conservation. So that amendment expires and I believe needs to be renewed, so it will be on the ballot. And like Brad says, a no vote is no, if you don't vote at all, it's a no vote. So yeah, it's a yes vote for conservation. And we have used the LCCMR funds on a few projects. The Ann Bryson one, as Courtney was mentioning, that project or that easement was developed through that LCCMR. And then we combined that with LSOHC through the restoration purpose. So yeah, the LCCMR is an important one. And it comes from the lottery proceeds to go to conservation.
Yeah, just hoping that maybe the watershed weekly and the column in the paper or something that the education goes.
Okay, well, I attended the 2 county commissioner board meetings in the last month. On 17th. I attended and they, couple of things they did is they passed the resolution, providing for a full-time position on 3 health planner position for 324. They consider resolution, they approved the acceptance of Minnesota Towards Zero Death grant for $21,000. They sold a squad car to the city of Alden. And then they set the budgets, preliminary budget for 2025. At their budget was set at 490,409, and they set the tax levy at 29,867,159, which is a 8.92 increase. So yeah, compared to what the city did, and that was 12.99. People are gonna feel it. And then on the first, I went to the county board meeting, and Courtney did a real good job explaining that, what happened there. But also they had, there was the Jacob Grove from the Fish and Wildlife Service, John Beamer, Wyndham Wetland Management District there. Just they talked about or get a secure easement from Philip Homburg of Alden Town to section 16. They're gonna put in holding ponds and stuff for fish and wildlife. And then it's gonna be private, so you won't, it's not gonna be open to the public, but they would be able to hay on it. This is a project done by the Fish and Wildlife. And that's about all I got for you. Like I said, Courtney did a real good job talking about down at Grass Lake, so. Thank you.
One comment, please.
Sure, Mr. Buckman.
So, I think our sales tax is important for next year. And, I think after the election, maybe like the 15th of every month or something, we should, meet with our legislators and our city leaders and stuff and get everybody on the same page, because you think you have time to do some of these things, but it goes by really quick, and our budget is really important on the sales tax, so what we can do in the future. So I would suggest we do something in the middle of November, start a little bit or whatever, maybe skip the holidays a little bit, but go for it. So, thank you.
Good idea. Anything else? Item 9, our next meeting is November 12th. Your calendar. And anything else? Anybody have? None, do I have a motion to adjourn? So move. Mr. Kramer, buddy. Second by Manager Pazuski. We have to call roll.
Manager Vaca.
Aye.
Manager Hanson.
Aye.
Manager Kramer.
Aye.
Manager Besuski.
Aye.
Manager Lee.
Aye.
Manager Gallagher.
Aye. We are adjourned.